Gold FM is #1 here in Sigatoka.
Gold FM is our favorite radio station here in Lautoka.
Gold FM is #1 in Nel.
I love listening to Gold FM in Ba.
We love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits here in Suva.
Hear about Coca-Cola, you immediately think of gold. I'm Josephine Sabi and I love hearing Gold FM.
Fiji FM, Bon Julum Julum.
Fiji FM, it's hot.
In this bulletin, the Waithomba community gets water supply after 21 years. Fiji First Party denies claims that it has massive assets. And another new proposed political party registers. Good evening, I'm Jackie Spate and this is FBC News. 2 decades of waiting for a proper water supply has finally come to an end for about 70 families in the Waithomba and the outskirts of Nandi. They now have clean drinking water coming straight to their taps. Akusita Tale reports.
The long wait was finally over for these families. The water pipes were laid in 1993 and over the years they had to endure low pressure to an intermittent water supply.
I understand some dozen or so homes have now started to get water. I'm not going to promise that water is going to come to you within the week, but I can promise you that water will come to you eventually when Water Authority finishes the work here.
Water is available to some residents and by the end of the month, all of them will have supplies in their taps.
The government will continue to provide services to you which you need, and that one of them is of course the basic necessity of life, and that is water. Water and good roads, and of course looking after the sugar industry for you.
Bainimarama also told residents they will not have to pay the entire $345 for a new water meter for each household. Akusita Tale, FBC News.
Fijians who have applied to work as polling day workers can expect something from the Fijian Elections Office this week. Election Supervisor Mohammed Saneem says they have finalized the applications and also processed the results of the test undertaken by the applicants.
All the applicants who had given us their mobile phone numbers to ensure that their mobile phones are turned on and that they are able to receive the SMS. So there is going to be a strategic categorized approach, and we will be starting with the applicants who scored the highest marks, and we will trend down towards those who did not score very high marks.
Training for polling day workers is expected to begin in 2 weeks. The Fiji First Party does not have a wealth of assets as claimed by some political parties, says General Secretary Ayaz Said Qayyum. Speaking on FBC TV's For the Record show last night, Said Qayyum says these political parties are basically lying to the public. Eleanor Tarangai View reports.
The Fiji Labour Party claims the Fiji First Party has accumulated massive assets since its registration. This has been refuted by the party General Secretary Ayaz Said Qayyum.
At all. In fact, the only 2 assets we have are 2 vehicles that have been purchased, which is in our declaration. Yes, we do have offices around Fiji now, but they're all rented for all short term, and I can tell you they're all rented up till September only. All of the offices around Fiji. We don't own any of the buildings. And yes, people have donated funds, and they've all been receipted, and they can all be held accountable. And as provided for under the law, the Registrar of Political Parties, we will need to submit our accounts, as will all other political parties, in due course.
Said Qayyum says statements made by political leaders are just gimmicks and intended to put the country off track.
There is distractions. If you see what he's saying, you see the misinformation being spread by Sodelpa, you see what the leader of NFP is saying, you see what the leader of PDP is saying. They're not real issues. They're all distractions. Because we suspect they don't really have much to offer. There is not much really that they can fault of what our leader has done as Prime Minister over the past 7 years.
The Fiji First Party is asking Fijians not to believe what these politicians are saying, but to judge for themselves what the Bainimarama government has done.
Look at the facts. Look at the track record. Look at the facts that we'll be providing you, backed by independent institutions. And please look at the future. What do you want in the future?
Said Kim says the Fiji First Party will not engage in personal attacks, but will go by the law and will not make comments and statements on baseless information. Eleanor Turangaiwiu, FBC News.
The proposed One Fiji party has lodged its application for registration with the Fijian Elections Office. The party filed their registration documents and petition of support from the party's initial members. Proposed party president Filimoni Vosarongo says they will now wait for the results in the coming weeks.
So it's a wait to see that process through. Obviously, they'll take time to advertise that and give also time to those who may wish to object. And if that time frame goes through, then obviously we're looking towards registration.
The proposed One Fiji party will be based in Lami. The National Federation Party has named 7 more candidates to contest the general election. This brings the total number of NFP candidates endorsed so far to 37. The list includes FNU academic Dr. Eddie Nambalarua, Boer farmer Kavai Vunindongo, women's advocate Faye Volatambu, and former resident magistrate Makereta Wangavonovono. Fiji Rugby Union CEO Manasam Baravilala is another candidate approved, and so far retired schoolteacher Emasi Ravulo and the chairman of Namukandongotuki Resource Committee Ratusakiusa Ratutila. More candidates will be revealed soon. Still to come on FBC News, Rengu Rengu for former Archbishop Petero Matadha to start tomorrow.
Gold FM is #1 here in Sigatoka.
Gold FM is our favorite radio station here in Lautoka.
Gold FM is #1 in Nel.
I love listening to Gold FM in Ba.
We love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits here in Suva.
Hear about bottled cola, you immediately think of gold. I'm Josephine Sabi and I love hearing Gold FM.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Welcome back, this is FBC News. Members of the Catholic Church community have been busy preparing for the funeral service of the former Archbishop Petero Matadha. The traditional presentation in Rengu Rengu will begin tomorrow afternoon. Savara Tambua has more.
The landmark Sacred Heart Cathedral in the heart of the city is bathed in bales of purple fabric as a mark of respect for the late Petero Matadha.
We normally put up this color, purple or violet, during the season of Lent and also of Advent. So it sort of reminds us faithful, it's not only a time for mourning, but also a time for us to recollect our own faith journey.
Members of the church will be taking part in all-night virgil prayer at the church on Thursday. The funeral will be held on Friday. The final resting place for the former head of the Catholic Church has been prepared.
We'll be converting that new Archbishop tomb into like a small chapel, in which we'll build a small altar, and then for people to come in, offer prayer. Even Mass can be celebrated there.
This will be the final resting place for the late Archbishop Petero Matadha. 5 other rooms are being prepared for future burial of leaders of the Catholic faith. For now, all the attention is on preparations for Friday's funeral, which is expected to be one of the biggest since the passing away of the leader of the Methodist Church, Reverend Tuikilakila Wangairatu, more than 3 months ago. Sabera Tambua, FBC News.
There is a drive for women to step forward and create structures that work for them. That was one of the key issues raised at the ANZ-sponsored International Women's Association debate in Suva. Josephine Navula reports.
The theme of the debate was, the hand that rocks the cradle can also rock the boardroom. Representing the affirmative side, aspiring politician and Be the Change campaign leader Roshiko Deo says, women have more potential and they should learn how to use it.
And so many women are graduating from tertiary institutions with higher degree than men. So women have the capability, women have the capacity. It may be the confidence, it may be the structures that prevent women from going into corporate positions. And that's where we, as a country, we can implement policies.
Theo says large workplaces need to also consider their female workers, by providing childcare services.
Large workplaces, corporations need to consider having one in the businesses for people that have a lot of women that work for them.
Representing the opposing side, Mark Halliday says in most cases, women will not be able to balance their work with family life.
This room is full of women who have mostly had children, and I hope to convince you after my 5 minutes that you've misinterpreted, obviously by the vote.
ANZ Bank CEO Vishnu Mohan says they are honoured to have sponsored such event.
That we are extremely delighted and pleased to be able to sponsor this event this morning. It seems to have all the hallmark of turning out to be a fantastic debate.
Deo and her colleague Lisa Apted lost the debate to Halliday opposing team. Josephine Navula, FBC News.
A photographic exhibition of Indigenous Australians and their culture is on display at Tapu City from tonight. The exhibition, titled Grounded, a modern ethnographic study of Indigenous Australians, features the work of Australian filmmaker and photographer Richard Jameson. Ellen Stolz reports.
The black and white images tell a story of Indigenous Australians and their culture. It's the work of Richard Jameson, an Indigenous Australian filmmaker and photographer who takes pride in his photography.
This week we celebrate NAIDOC Week, which is the National Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Day of Commemoration, and it's a way of us celebrating our culture today, and part of it is to do these sort of exhibitions.
Jameson worked with the Australian Department of Foreign Affairs for 17 years. However, his deep passion for photography and filmmaking finally got the best of him, and he left to pursue a career in it. He says there is talent in Fiji, but it's just a matter of nurturing it.
I've seen some music clips from the rappers, and they're really cool, and they really highlight street life and also village life within Fiji, and they're really, really cool.
Jameson is looking to conduct workshops at the University of the South Pacific and the Fiji National University to share his skills and knowledge on photography and filmmaking.
So I'm going to talk to him about how to make films that are really cheap, but they can have some amazing stories and they can tell a lot of the stories. We're also going to be looking at possibly making a film here or highlighting some of the work. So I want to work with some of the young students here.
The week-long exhibition is being launched tonight by Acting Australian High Commissioner Glenn Miles. Ellen Stolz, FBC News.
16 successful young people who took agriculture courses at the Nassau Youth Training Centre in Nadodolevu, Singatoka, have graduated following 6 months of training. These young men and women can now become farmers. Eleanor Rangaivu has more.
From February this year, these youths have been trained to be established young farmers. Now, equipped with the necessary skills and knowledge, they should be able to start their own farms.
It's a source of income, a source of employment. This certificate is my path to better things.
The new graduates will now return to their villages and communities to put into practice what they have learned. Their output will then be monitored.
This is an important aspect of the training where monitoring and follow-up is done to also then design the kind of assistance that we will be providing to young people in order to establish themselves much better and much more effectively when they return to their communities.
19-year-old Timothy Ratu graduated from the centre last year and is now seeing the fruits of what he learned.
I have really learnt a lot and have gained more insight and knowledge. Now I am on attachment here and looking to further my career.
84% of graduates from the Nassau Training Centre are now successful and established. There are high hopes that this batch will become part of that statistic. Eleanor Turangaiwiu, FBC News.
Jamie joins you now with sports.
Good evening. Coming up in sports, flying Fijians to review June internationals and another former world #1 golf champion pinned in for inaugural Fiji International. This and more after the break.
Mirchi FM is #1 in Singapore.
I love Mirchi FM, it's so hot.
Deke me lala, kai me high. Tangi tau man. Mirchi FM is hot.
Here at Rugby Town, Singapore, love listening to Mirchi FM. Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Mirchi FM is #1 in Suva.
It's hot. Mirchi FM, Bon Julum Julum.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Welcome back to FBC Sports. The Vodafone Flying Fijians coaching staff is now in the process of reviewing its June internationals. Last month has been described as a success with 3 wins and a loss for the side. Coach John McKee is also very pleased with senior players in the squad for laying a foundation for the team. Indra Singh has more.
The attitude of senior players during the June internationals has been praised by the national coach.
Oh, look, the players were really good to work with. Highly motivated to play for the Flying Fijians, and really I really enjoyed working with the senior players. They had some good input into our programs and our processes. So yeah, the guys worked very hard.
The review of the June internationals has started, and the work for McKee and his brigade continues.
Although the people don't see much happening on the field because we're not playing any more tests till November, there's a lot of planning going on behind the scenes and at Rugby House that we're really gearing up with the whole behind the scenes. So November goes very smoothly, and then next year with our PNC training camps here at Fiji and World Cup, it will be a very exciting time in a very well-planned organisation.
Coupled with this, the coaching staff is also wanting to have the Fijian brand of rugby combined with the modern-day game.
To do that, we need to improve our skills around the ruck area so we can get very quick ball and improve our skills of clearing the ball from ruck so that we transfer the ball very quickly from the base of the ruck to our backs and to our fast players out wide.
The next stop will be the end of the year tour to Europe. This is just the beginning of the long winding road to the pinnacle, which is the 2015 World Cup. Indra Singh, FBC Sports.
The Nambour Broncos and the Top Line Warriors are at risk of being relegated to the Premier Grade of Rugby League's Vodafone Cup next year. The Nambour-based sides at the bottom of the top 8 points table. Each will need to lift their game to avoid being demoted to the second tier.
I think that the bottom 2 teams will try to win some of their games to keep them alive in the top 8 next season. If you see the second round now, all the top teams are really up to stand where they want to be. So if the bottom 2, Nambour and Top Line will be stay at the top, bottom 2 they'll be relegated to the Premier season next season.
Meanwhile, the top 8 competition moves to Vaturemba Park in Nabosa this weekend as part of the FNRL's outreach program. Fijian swimmer and breaststroke title holder Meli Malani wants to better his times in upcoming international events. The Maris Brothers High School student is preparing for the Commonwealth and Youth Olympic Games.
Commonwealth, hopefully to just get out, more experience, so that it could give me a more ideal picture of what the Youth Olympics will be like in August.
The Commonwealth Games will be held from the 23rd of July to the 3rd of August. Meanwhile, in the World Cup semi-finals on Wednesday at 8 a.m., Brazil takes on Germany, while on Thursday at the same time, Argentina battles the Netherlands. Both games will be live on FBC TV. That was your sports for tonight. It's back to Jackie now with business.
Film Fiji has a new CEO. Dallas Foon will take up his appointment from Monday. A Film Fiji statement says Foon's appointment was made in consultations with the Industry and Trade Minister Ayaz Said Qayyum. Foon was previously General Manager for Rooster Poultry in Bar. Said Qayyum said Foon will work closely with the board to develop the audiovisual industry, especially the creation of opportunities for Fijians to develop a career in the movie industry. And it's weather time with Trish.
Let's look at today's map. Suva had fine weather in the morning that turned into a dull, cloudy afternoon. The rest of the centers, Nani, Lotoka, Mbasa, and also Savu had better conditions with fine weather all day long. Temperatures today, well, we had Suva which reached only 27, Nandi on 28, Lotoka 29, Ba 31, and Savu Savu 28 and Lambasa hit 32. Just like last night, tonight's temperatures will drop to 16 for Ba and Navua. It will be chilly at a higher elevation as well, so if you're up in the hills, extra blanket time. Tomorrow's forecast calls for cloudy skies and scattered afternoon showers all across the nations for mariners east to northeast winds, that is 15 to 20 knots, and moderate to rough seas. Another beautiful picture today by Felix Volathani Vanua. If you have pictures that you would love to share with us and the whole country, well, you can send them into Citizens' Eyes at fbc.com.fj.
Thanks so much for that, Trish. Recapping the top stories, Nawaithomba community gets water supply after 21 years. Fiji First Party denies claims that it has massive assets, and another new proposed political party registers. Now onto the results from last week's poll question. We asked, should there be more policing of nightclubs? 81% said yes, and 19% said no. This week we're asking, are you familiar with the voting process? Visit our FBC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC News or simply hashtag FBC News. That's news for tonight till tomorrow. Good evening.
Gold FM is #1 here in Sigatoka.
Gold FM is our favorite radio station here in Lautoka.
Gold FM is #1 in Nen.
I love listening to Gold FM in Ba.
We love listening to Gold FM, only the classic hits here in Suva.
Hear about bottled cola, you immediately think of gold. I'm Josephine Sabi and I love hearing Gold FM.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.